I have this fun little granny square book, and I am going to use a random wheel generator to see which granny square I have to make. There's 40 different ones. I would like to eventually make all of them, and I figured this would just be a fun way to figure out which one to randomly do. Alright, so let's give it a spin. Alright, so we spun 28, which is the page Bright Shimmer. Alright, so we're going to check out what that is together. Alright, so this right here is Bright Shimmer, and I have like a fun little rainbow granny square. Hook size 4mm, I need to grab that. The black size should be a 6x6, and these are the yarn colors they used in here. It shows you the stitches, and there's different ones in this book that it'll pair up with, which I do like that. But for now, I'm going to grab my yarn and my hook. Alright, so I got my 4, and I have a bunch of already used yarn that I'm trying to get rid of. So it's not going to be this exact color, but I'm still going to use the it's not going to be the exact shade of this color, but I'm still going to use the color. Go ahead and get to making this, and I'll be back with my thoughts. Alright, I am all done with this. Let's blocking will also help that if I need to, but let's measure to see if it is in fact 6 inches, because it feels like it's larger. Yep, it's 8 by 8. Alright, so let's compare. So this is what I did, and this is the picture. Obviously the color is different. Actually, funny enough, that pink looks the same. Don't hate it. I think it's pretty. I mean, it's a rainbow. I'm usually more of a pastel, but this is what I had. I would have preferred it to actually be 6 inches, and I don't think my tension was super loose. I mean, I did use the same, yeah, I used a 4mm that I'd asked for, so. But regardless, I do like it. The book was easy itself to understand, but also this is just a very basic granny square, just color changing if to make a rainbow. I liked it though. I think it looks nice. So I'm happy with the way this had turned out so far. So far so good. Everything, you know, it looks nice. So we will go ahead and roll to do another one, and we will see. I think I'm only going to do 2 in this video, but we will go ahead and roll and do another one. The next number that we spun was 80, which is, if we look right here, Dazzling Octagon. It goes along with the one we just did. A little different, but it still goes. So with this one, I'm going to keep most of the same colors, but I am going to change it up a little bit, but you'll see that as I go. This skill level is a 2 out of 3. It is asking for a 3.5, so I do need to go down a size on my hook. And we have a little bit more yarn, so I'm wondering if it's going to be the same 8 inches or if it's going to be 6 inches, but we shall see. Definitely a lot more stitches on this one compared to the other one, but we shall see how it goes. I messed up, but I am not frogging this again. I put it all in this corner. And the amount of times I frogged my errors. This is mine. I'm not selling it. I'm not fixing it. These granny squares that I am making, I am giving to my mother to make a blanket. She wants me and my sister and her to all make different granny squares so we can all she can have a blanket made by all three of us. So if that's a little messed up, it'll just adds a little bit of character. It's all good. This pattern hasn't been too difficult. I know I frogged quite a few times on the blue because for whatever reason, what I was reading, I just was not comprehending. But the pattern has been very repetitive, which is how a granny square usually is, so that's good. You can't really tell looking at it once you look at it real quick where the mess up was, which corner, unless you're really examining it, because it was sitting here and I thought it was here for a second and I realized that it's actually right here. But that makes me happy to realize that, because as many times as I frogged this particular one, I wasn't going back to frog again. And really it was me just not quite reading the pattern correctly, where I had to frog it in the blue a couple times. But once I realized, that doesn't look right, and I fixed it, it was actually a pretty easy pattern to read. To me, I guess intermediate, beginner to intermediate, as long as you know how to make the magic ring, which we had to do on the other one, then I thought it was fairly easy. But I'm happy with how this one came out. I like the little design on here. The colors are really nice. I do like these colors together a little bit more than the first one I made, but the first one is a little bit more dark and bright together, and this one just kind of is a smidge more cohesive, but not completely. But like I said, we're using the yarn I have. I'm not going out to buy any yarn. Still wish that the yarn had a little bit more information, what weight it was, what thickness and all that, so I didn't have to look up the yarn myself. And I know it does tell you in the back of the book to gauge it, to see, and I wouldn't want to have to honestly go down smaller than a 3.5 for this, just because I don't necessarily enjoy crocheting with the smaller hooks. And as you could see, I was already struggling in some parts with this particular yarn fraying, because the yarn that I'm using calls for a 5mm and I'm using a 3.5, which is fine because I make amigurumi and I'm used to downsizing. It just wasn't necessarily my favorite, but I'm still happy. It is cohesive. I am going to block it so it is a little bit more structurally sound. This one doesn't really, in my opinion, need to be blocked. It's good maybe to lay it flat, but this one I do want to block it to stretch it just a smidge. But other than that, I'm very happy with how these came out first. And I do like how they went fairly well together. Like I said, this one's definitely a little bit more brighter, but it's looking pretty good. And I'm happy with it so far. And honestly, I'm excited to see what the next two hold and what it'll continue to look like. If it looks anything like this, if it is harder, I'm kind of excited to try one of the advanced ones just to see, because I feel like my skills are pretty well, but maybe not. We're gonna find out. So here's the first two of this fun little challenge, and I am excited to see what the next two will hold. So all right, well, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you come back to watch the remaining of the 40, actually the remaining 38, and what those will look like and the color combinations we come up with. All right, bye.